Oh boy, we are live. Well, now we are. The clock just started running. You see, that's why we millennial pause. We don't know. We don't know if the fucking thing is going, but it is now. Let me go ahead and check the audio. It feels good to be live. I am glad to be live right now. Haven't done this in quite some time, and I apologize. So let's make sure the audio is working. Very good. Very good. All right. Let me pull up my agenda for. Oh, I see the Wi-Fi is weak. The Wi-Fi has been very shitty around here lately. I'm not sure what's going on. Not sure what's going on. Maybe it's Russia. Russia. Um, so just some housekeeping before we get going. First of all, if you're listening to the audio version of this, I usually right now I post the audio kind of late. I would prefer people show up here for the stream. It's just more fun to interact on YouTube and everything. The stream you get right on time. The audio you got to wait a few days. What else? I have been kicking around the idea of changing the show time from Friday at 8 p.m. because it's just becoming more and more untenable to do a live show every week at that time, just because that was a creation of the lockdown, and now that we're a few years past that, and the world is back to its usual pace. Friday at 8 p.m. tends to be occupied, so rather than constantly pre-record, I've been kicking around some different times. I've thought of Friday afternoon, like right before rush hour, so people could hop on, watch it if you commute via public transportation or what have you. Also thinking about Wednesday around 7 p.m., like right after the network news wraps up, because I like to watch the news and then do a nice midweek night show. So if you have a thought on that, I am interested to hear what people have to say. The few of you who tune in regularly. So let me know at some point in the comments, and I'll give a few weeks worth of heads up for when I plan on changing everything. So it won't just be I'm not just gonna surprise you one week. I'll let you know. Yeah. So next week, San Gennaro. There's a high likelihood that there will be no show at all. If there is, it'll be pre-recorded. It's just going to be dependent on how full my Friday is. So we shall see. Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler. YouTube at Mike's Golden Streams, or just Sacktap Live. And tell your friends, get it out there, sing it to the masses. Yeah. So it has been a week. If you're a news person, if you love, I enjoy current events. And I was thinking the other day, it's been a little while since which is weird. We're living in a world where massive shit just pops off very frequently. But it had been a while since a really, really big one went down. And it happened. Boy, the Charlie Kirk thing, that the video of it, I'm not going to play it. It's horrible. And we'll get to, it's so horrible. And there are people, that video is so horrible. First of all, one of the consequences of this is that his wife and daughter can never go on they can't go on any social media ever again, because at any turn that could hit, just as they're scrolling. I don't know if there's a way, like if you're them, like to work with the people who run those apps to just completely eliminate that from your algorithm or what. But that video is so horrible. But everyone has seen it, and despite the fact that it's just so terrible, there are a lot of people outright celebrating. That's a wild one in and of itself. If you're there are two different people responding to this like complete fucking douchebags. The people who are outright celebrating, because if you're outright celebrating, what it means is that you have made online political arguing such a deeply embedded part of your personality. Like you've gotten so into when I was young, when I was in college, like nobody gave a fucking shit about politics. I remember the some guy in Haiti got kidnapped or some shit, and like a band of students marched into the cafeteria during lunchtime, and like they reenacted the kidnapping, and then like read some fucking thing about it, like trying to bring attention to it, and everyone just like looked at them, and then went back to eating fucking whatever delicious shit they had. I love a college cafeteria. Fucking so much delicious food. Just you eat at an all you can eat buffet 3 times a day. Tremendous. But no one gave a shit. Like people were like a little, because the Iraq war was going on. So people were like, there was a little bit of that, but it wasn't the way it is now, where it's everybody's personality. Like back then, like I was a political science major. I was one of the people who was the most interested in politics. I came from, and we'll talk about September 11th, but I came from a town that over the years had been very affected by terrorism. So I took this deep interest in the Middle East and international affairs. But like, even like I was a jock first. Like I didn't fucking like, other than like telling people like, oh yeah, like I want to join the Marine Corps, like after graduation, like I didn't really wear politics on my sleeve. At least to the extent that, people do. Obviously you talk, like everyone in college talks about their major, but not the way these kids do now. Like they're all, and not even just kids, but I mean, you go on Facebook and the boomers are going fucking crazy. But I reference college to say that obviously the shooter was a college student, but also, someone who was like super into politics back then was like, you looked at, it was like a very unique personality type. Like it was very like, you're what? You spend a lot of time reading about policy. Like you fucking like what? You interned for a who? Like you interned for a state senator? Like fucking like, it was like weird shit. Like most people like who were political science majors, like the normal ones, were doing it because they were pre-law. And then it was me and a few other guys. There were guys who were in like ROTC, or, like me, I was going to OCS, who were doing it to kind of learn about, the region and the, what we were getting ourselves into, so to speak. But they would be like, there were like a handful of kids, who they fucking, they were doing political science because they wanted to get, they wanted to go, work at the State House down in fucking Trenton or Harrisburg. It was very weird. Now it's like every one of these little fucking shits is an activist of some kind or another. And it's gotten so deeply entrenched in their personalities that despite seeing this horrible fucking video of this guy getting shot through the fucking throat, they're openly celebrating. Like they are gleeful that this man has been executed. And I'm sure I think a lot of it is anger on people, their part, because there were a lot of them who were so convinced that Kamala was they bought the whole brat vibes thing, hook, line, and sinker. So, they've been furious since then. They truly thought, she was going to win. Trump was going to go to jail because he's a felon. So he was going to go to jail. And all this shit was going to start happening. And even recently, there was a rumor going around the internet that Trump had died, and they were all celebrating. And then when it turned out to just be a rumor, they were bemoaning the fact that he was still alive. And it's like, it's considered a perfect among certain groups of people, and not like an underground, again, one or two kids on campus back in the day who had like some sort of anarchist t-shirt or something like that, and like they wanted to tell you about like how the man is fucking you over. Every campus had like two of the, but like it wasn't a widespread personality type like it is now. Like college used to literally just be a bunch of kids in fucking Abercrombie polos trying to fucking finger each other on the dance floor. That was college. It was fucking great. It was awesome. It was the cocaine didn't have fentanyl in it. Everyone was just rocking off their fucking asses. Girls were wearing very short, either denim or frilly skirts, and dance floor finger banging was very much in play. Wonderful time. Now it is, I guess it's cool. You can find, chicks in your class on OnlyFans. That's a thing we didn't really have. But also we weren't so fucked up in the head that we celebrated a public execution. And it's wild that it goes beyond college kids. Like it's like a fully actualized adults, like professionals. Like you're seeing it all over social media, like teachers and fucking, security guards and advertising. It's just like people of every fucking walk of humanity are displaying their lack thereof by celebrating the fact that a husband and father of a young girl was executed for exercising his First Amendment right. Wild fucking stuff. The other sort of douchebag involved in all of this is the smarter than the room person. And there are a lot of these out there. They are the ones who will say, now, I don't advocate for anyone getting shot, but you have to remember, like, there is no empathy that, which it's fucking hilarious because these people are all the therapy speak, fucking the body keeps score pussies, who they talk all about empathy, this, and they're fucking journaling and suck my fucking cock. They're not empathy. If you understand what empathy really is, empathy is being able to put yourself in the shoes of the person that you dislike or disagree with the most. Like that is how empathy works. It's not, you can't have empathy for a friend is meaningless. That's, of course you already, that's already built into the friendship, or at least it should be. Empathy at its, most the true practice of empathy is extending empathy beyond the people you like to the people you dislike. Otherwise, you're not being, you're not empathetic. you're just being friends with people that you like. Like those are two completely different things. Despite all of that, these people want to remind you that while it's not good that somebody got shot, we should remember that he kind of had it coming. Like that seems to be their message. Like they fucking and I've seen this posted by people who you're like, oh, I thought that was a well-adjusted person. Like, and some that I've seen that I'm like, no, I didn't think you were a well-adjusted, but like, just people with like regular corporate and I'm not gonna screen grab and like that's not my style. I don't need to get someone who I fucking knew 15 years ago fired from their job or whatever. If the world can take care of that. If someone else wants to do that kind of shit, I salute, but not for me. But it is. I truly do not understand, one, the whole I'm going to make my entire personality about politics, and two, the need at a time when, again, somebody got their fucking just all of the blood in their body just spurted out of him in front of a crowd. That just it killed in like the like just the most medieval fucking fashion you can imagine. And people are like, yeah, I guess don't, I guess be careful where you say the wrong thing. Like it's absolutely incredible. I will, however, I was watching the press conference this morning. I was watching live. I was having my cold brew and watching the cop or whoever it was have to read the shell casing that said, if you're reading this, you are gay. That was very funny. Like if they're, this guy's a horrible piece of shit, but that was legitimately like, what a moment of levity. Like there have been minor moments of levity as a result of this. And you don't like to use the word levity because again, this is just such a fucking terrible thing to happen to this guy's family. And anyone like, I feel like the people who are downplaying it, like really have not ever seen or witnessed real violence up close, and I'm sure they would shout something about fucking Gaza or whatever, and they would get some big. It's not the time for existential arguments, right? You know what I mean? Like we can all just say, hey, we don't want to live in a country where we respond to an unpopular opinion by sniping the person from 200 meters away. Like, that should be the goal. We should really want that. So, it's not the discussion now isn't about really what he stood for. The discussion is about what the fuck is wrong with you if you're celebrating or if you're like, if you're a special type of dickhead, if you have to do the, well, yeah, but he shouldn't have, like, it's just like, a guy with a young daughter and a wife got his fucking brains blown or his fucking throat blown apart in front of a packed audience. There is no bright side to that. I mean, MSNBC, those fucking dopes saying that it could have been celebratory. That's the other moment of, I don't know, again, you don't want to use the term levity, but just tremendous. Just revealing themselves. Here's what the people on MSNBC think of people who live in the middle of the United States. They think you're a bunch of fucking unhinged idiots who go around firing at your guns. They think that fucking, you're at this thing and Charlie Kirk delivers a line about how life begins at conception, and fucking all of a sudden just the firearms come out and everybody's yipping and yeehawing like what's Yosemite Sam. They think you're all Yosemite Sam. This fucking idiot. It could have been celebratory gunfire from one of his supporters. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, just the sheer degree of stupidity. And that's the other thing that just this round-the-clock obsession with politics has done to this fucking country is that that's such a ridiculous hot take, because we got to fill the space with something. So let's just throw this conjecture out there. Like, it could have been celebratory gunfire. When the fuck have you ever heard of celebratory gunfire breaking out in America? We live in a country where if a piece of metal falls to the ground at a large public gathering and it makes a bang, like if a fence falls or something like that, people scatter immediately because they think it's a mass shooting, because that's become a sort of proud American tradition, is the rampage shooter. So to think that there would ever be a case where you could even have celebratory gunfire in this country without causing an immediate stampede is insane. But yeah, anyway. How we doing in the comments section tonight, boys? How are we? Wow, I'm just going through the comments section. Yes, Nick. Yeah, the told you so smug assholes. There is a lot of smugness. It's not a good quality. I'm not a fan of smugness. Yeah, Nighttime Conqueror. You get it. College back in the day, just we're gonna go to a since you say blackout, we're gonna go to a fucking highlighter party. What are you doing this weekend? We're going to get blindingly drunk. We're going to go to a highlighter party. It's just going to be black lights everywhere, and we're going to draw on each other and fucking make out with. We're going to grind our fucking whiskey limp dicks against chicks while we draw on them with fucking highlighters and try to make out a little bit. And then at Muhlenberg, you would go. They had this place that was open late, where they would make. They called them bagel bombs. It was really just sausage, egg, and cheese on a fucking bagel. But you would go there, and then like that's where all like the shit talking and the almost fights and stuff would happen. You get drunk and like you'd peg some fraternity brother in the head with a fucking quarter of a hot bagel. we went back for our 5-year reunion, and we had our one buddy that we used to always fuck with. He was checking out, and he had like a bag or something like that. We started like sticking items into it, and the guy at the cashier who had been working there even when we were in college accused him of shoplifting, and our friend, who was at this point, like, in his late 20s and back at his alma mater, got accused of shoplifting. That was, I think it was like our 5 or 10-year reunion. He's the same one that we tricked into going to a gay bar in New Orleans. Good times. Yeah, Monday morning mowing with Mike. There was something about, I think there's probably less of the freshman 15 now because like gym culture and shit like that is so big amongst the the younger generation. Obviously, there are a lot of fat fucks, but they're just fat fucks in general. Like they got to college as fat fucks. But I felt like the freshman 15, I think, was such a thing because you remember in the 90s, it was like the heroin chic, like um the Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein ads where everyone was just bone skinny and like there's a real problem with high school chicks having eating disorders. I think the freshman 15 would hit because those chicks would get to college and then just couldn't fucking resist the cafeteria and all of like the you know the literature, if you will, was trying to push them away from eating disorders, and that was like when the embrace your body shit started. So yeah, you would get that like they weren't working out, like they weren't lifting, there wasn't like CrossFit and fucking all all the fitness influencers whose routines they could copy like there is today. So so it wasn't like they'd put on a freshman 15, but like they would just be they'd be thick baddies. They'd put on a freshman 15 and it would just be like this formerly skinny girl would now have like a fucking a pot belly and a fucking dumpy ass. That was the freshman 15 back in the day. Sorry, I'm scratching my balls. And I couldn't think and scratch my balls at the same time. Chucky D, a mid-sized town in Central Oregon. Yeah, I can imagine. Um, yeah, I have I have some family out on the West Coast, and as I understand, they have been engaging in a little bit of silliness on social media this week. It's not on a platform that I use because they are in their boomer years, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Just say nothing. Like you did. No one fucking cares. Like you're not. No one who is posting anything about this, like their fucking hot take on it, is relevant enough to any conversation. Like it's just like some dickhead that you had physics class with 20 years ago, and they're sharing a meme about how this family deserves to be put through this. It just wild shit. I'm rolling through this. Yeah, the words are violence crowd. Yeah, you remember back in the it's amazing that it's finally come to this, and of course, there was the incident where the guy showed up at Nick Fuentes' house, but in the 2010s, that when these little campus uprisings started, probably a couple years after Occupy, around the time of like the Michael Brown, the hands up, don't shoot, and when Black Lives Matter and stuff started to get popular, like all that shit. There, it's back. Ah, hey. Um, the microaggressions were a big problem on campus, and like Milo Yiannopoulos was doing some sort of big tour, and they would protest. They would get these things shut down because they would like threaten people, and you know people would be like, "Hey, you can't do that. Like that's wrong." And people are like, "Oh well, all they did was oppose it. They protested. It's there. He doesn't have the right to speak there if the students don't want it. It was like, well, some students do, and the only reason they canceled it is because these other students created a very dangerous environment. They were like firing Molotov cocktails and fucking bottle rockets at the building on one campus while this thing was going on, and people were like, "Hey, this is a big problem," and everyone was just told, "Hey, you got to shut the fuck up. That's not a big deal. You have to understand, people." Apu was a character on The Simpsons, and that was very offensive to marginalized groups. So this is they're just expressing that by throwing Molotov cocktails at an invited speaker. And we were told that was supposed to be, that's a normal thing to do. And people said, but this is going to lead, someone's going to get killed. This is bad. And wouldn't you know, on a college campus, a speaker with opinions that bothered somebody has been killed. So that actually has materialized. And in the interim, there have been attempts on other people. Salman Rushdie, the guy, they stabbed him in the face. So we do seem to, and it feels like these times historically kind of go in waves. But we do seem to be going through a time now where there's sort of people are predisposed to a sort of radical vigilantism. But, if you're on the if I just saw that wrong side of the wall from Alberta. Hey, Christian. Hello from Alberta, eh? We got a big Crash Test Dummies fan in the house tonight, Christian. Welcome. I lost where the fuck I was. But yeah, the point being, hey, nighttime. Oh, a nighttime conqueror. I didn't realize you were from up there too. Yeah. No, I was saying that you do go through these little like sort of hiccups in history where this happened. Like in the like I guess the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of like radicalism, and they were doing that shit. And then it was like, then it gave way to the cocaine 80s, and everyone was just like, you know what, fuck it, let's go back to having a good time. I feel like the early 1900s, there was a lot of this kind of shit going on, Sacco and Vanzetti and Archduke Ferdinand and all of that. So every once in a while, you live through, I guess, a society goes through a historical period where people are doing this kind of thing. And it's interesting. If nothing else, we are living in fascinating times. Everyone's existence on this planet will be marked by, the historical event. Like, what did you live through, right? There's a generation that was born that lived through a depression and World War II and the space race and Vietnam and all of that, and then they lived to see like fucking computers and whatnot, and they lived just long enough. They went from living, being children at a time when they might legitimately have to go on the street. There were young girls who, for a few cents, they would just masturbate grown men on the street. They would just give them hand jobs on the street, and they would get they would toss them some coins. And this was during the Great Depression. This was very, very common. And even prior to that, it was a practice that had come from, the immigrants when they were living in the tenement slums. They had to fucking eat. So they their kids would go out to do this, and there were obviously a lot of orphans on the street, and they would do that. So there was a generation that lived from then long enough to see their adolescent grandchildren getting really into emo and fucking dyeing their hair purple and painting their nails and fucking acting sad and throwing tantrums because they didn't want to fucking leave the central air to go outside and mow the lawn. And they were mad at their father because their father wanted them to be on like the football team or some shit, but they just wanted to, they just wanted to skateboard and hang out with misunderstood girls. So that was the lifespan of people who were born in the early 1900s. And so, if you're us, if you're the millennials, this is what you're living through, and it is certainly interesting. Yes, Andrew. Sorry, I'm trying to click on Andrew Bennett here. Yes, there were shitloads. There was so much radicalism, man, in the 70s. Yeah, lots and lots of from like every different group, like just all across the fucking board. There were a lot of just it was a time of radicalism. Speaking of radicalism, radical Islam. It was fun wordplay from radicalism to radical Islam. We're having a good time. Always fun on the stream. It was 9/11 yesterday. We, the day we paused to remember the heroism that Mark Wahlberg would have displayed had he been on one of those flights. There would have been blood all over that first class cabin. 9/11. I was a junior in high school. I grew up in Glen Rock, New Jersey, and Glen Rock is a commuter town with a lot of people who work in finance and Wall Street and all of that. You could be from Glen Rock to the George Washington Bridge if there's no traffic. You can do it in like 20 minutes. So very, very close to New York City. Most people, for the most part, everyone's parents worked in New York City to what, if your working parent was going into the city. I remember the first plane hit, and it was we were in health class, we were in marketing class. And we had a substitute teacher, and she got a call, and she had to leave, and someone else had to take over because her husband was working in the trade center, and I believe they had just moved to town from Littleton, Colorado. So they weren't a Columbine family, but they had just moved to town from Littleton. The kids went to a different school, but she had to leave, and then they were like, "Oh, a second plane." Like then it word got out that something was afoot, and I remember I had just recently learned about Al Qaeda because I was just interested in military stuff, and I was always fascinated by the Middle East. And there had been the USS Cole bombing, and there had been the bombings at the embassies, and bin Laden had come out and threatened the United States. And I remember knowing about this guy and being like, this fucking guy, he's going to do something. And I remember hearing the second plane hit, and I was like, oh, this is that Al Qaeda group. This is Osama bin Laden. It's fucking them. And then, of course, it came out that they had killed. I guess the way they did it, they killed the leader of the Northern Alliance the day before, and then they executed this plot. And if you read the 9/11 Commission report and the books about 9/11 and understanding how the hijackers did it and what their lives were like in America, I mean they literally were just drinking and coming the entire and indulging in every like delight that the United States had to offer. Like literally, like the way like servicemen do when they're on leave in Thailand and you go out on fucking drinking, eating, and fucking whoring sprees. These guys were getting hookers and porn, just constantly ordering porn and going to strip clubs and eating fucking pizza. They fucking loved pizza, and taking it all in until the big day. Yeah, of course, Nighttime Conqueror, fucking Bush throwing the first pitch, legendary. Yes, Nick. Her husband survived. It was all good. We did, however, lose about a dozen people. It was somewhere from like 11 to 13, and my town had previously had like a whole family wiped out in the Pan Am Lockerbie bombing. There was a family from Glen Rock flying home on it. So there were two memorials to terrorism victims in our town. We had one for there's a monument to the Lockerbie victims, and then there's one for 9/11. There's like a piece of one of the towers. Yeah, I remember like there was a lot of like gallows humor going around, and in retrospect, you're a teenager. It was a very weird thing to happen as a teenager, because you're you're so aware of what is going on, and yet you're not, intellectually or emotionally mature enough to really process it. So I look back now and I'm like, oh, like that must have like fucked us all up to some degree, because afterwards, obviously, they canceled sports that day. We couldn't have football practice. The team we were playing that week was a fucking pushover. We went in and we put up like 55 points. But I remember we went and watched film at the quarterback's house. The offensive coordinator met us over there, and we watched film as a team. They turned the basement into a film room. We watched some special teams tape, and then we watched Fox News for a while. And the offensive coordinator was a history teacher, so he just kind of gave us a kind of lesson on the region. And then after that, there was almost like, I mean, obviously there was a lot of mourning and sadness and a little anxiety, because there was the terror alert level, and it would be like, hey, the terror alert is up, like it's up to orange or whatever. And I remember you'd go into the city and you would check the terror alert before going into the city. I remember vividly one night, my best friend and I were driving into the city, just to like, pretend to be grown up and have dinner at like a fucking restaurant in Little Italy with our girlfriends who just bitterly fucking hated each other. Fucking Well, it's fucking the funniest in retrospect, just the funniest fucking shit. Every fucking picture you see of the four of us, fucking everyone's just miserable because these bitches were putting such a fucking just a toxic fucking cloud in the air. But you know, you were coming for the first time, so you just dealt with it. But yeah, there was that. But amidst all that anxiety, there's also a sort of an excited patriotism where we were just ready to kick somebody's ass. And there was a very sort of the just fun, exciting energy to it. And country music got kind of popular really briefly because they were just making songs about like whooping ass in other countries and how, you know, there's going to be a rocket up somebody's ass. Like rocket up your ass was probably a song. I don't, is that a real song? If it could be, it could very well, rocket up your ass could very well have charted on the country charts in like 2002. Like if no idea if that's a real song, but if it was, it would have gotten a Grammy that year. And you know, a lot of guys were joining the military. That was definitely, for me, it was definitely like there were three big, I would say three things that really got me to join the Marine Corps. I mean, first, obviously, when I was like a little kid, I saw the Dress Blues commercial where the guy fights a dragon and then he's like cutting his way across a chessboard and climbing up a fucking cliff, and then he's got the fucking sword and he's doing sword manual and his blues while just an Inferno rages behind him. As a child, you see that and you're like, that's pretty badass. And you know, I watched Desert Storm happen live on TV as CNN covered it. And then 9/11 obviously was one of the big ones, and a guy I grew up with from, you know, kindergarten all the way through high school joined the Marine Corps straight out of high school. He was wounded very badly in the Battle of Fallujah while I was off at college getting you know, blackout drunk and going to aforementioned highlighter parties, and you know, trying to fucking finger bang overweight sixes. And then while I was a senior in college, my cousin enlisted, and I was like, all right, he's younger than me. My other friend, like other people have doing this. I had fun for 4 years. Don't be a pussy. It'll be fucking badass. You're gonna get paid to blow shit up and do pull-ups. Let's fucking go. You're probably gonna get a bunch of trim as a result, which I will say, the year that I spent from graduating OCS to deploying to Iraq, fucking just one of the all-time pussy runs of my life. Like just going to different cities and college campuses with your boys, and it's just you and a bunch of other fucking fit, confident 20-somethings with, you know, nothing to lose. We would just drown in fucking ass. It was awesome. And then you go to Iraq, and then after Iraq, I went out to Okinawa, of course, and very rare. I mean, over there, for the most part, everyone just gets their dick tugged by fucking bar girls. There are a handful of guys. The brothers do very well over there because the local women are all convinced that they're famous rappers or NBA stars. It's very funny. So they all when they go out on the town, they fucking do it up. So they can bring home a little mama-san. I would imagine the local men must fucking hate them. But the most people, you get stationed in the Pacific, there's the sex workers are just all over the fucking place. Like, you literally, I remember being in Thailand at a strip club, and they just take your dick out in front of everybody and start jacking you. And then, yeah, I came home, and the night after I came home for good, they killed Bin Laden, or they announced that Bin Laden had been killed. And I lit up a cigar in the living room, and it was like late night. The Mets were playing the Phillies. They cut in the USA chant, and Obama announced it. And I remember my father came down, so he was like, "Why the hell are you smoking a cigar in the house? Your mother's going to kill us." And I said, they killed Bin Laden. My father is was at like the Trade Center. He was down there when the towers fell, interviewing people. So he had to run and duck and hide from all the falling debris. So he was very very excited to hear that that Bin Laden had been killed. And then a few months later, fucking Occupy Wall Street broke out, and that was the literal end of the post 9/11 era, and I would say the start, the very kind of, or at least a very big checkpoint along the way, because 9/11 had a lot to. It was so weird, like if you go back and watch like the cascade of world events that got us to where we are this week with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and then the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Fucking wild. You do have to watch out, Cheese. The Lady Boys. No, so what a lot of people don't understand about Thailand is that the Lady Boys, for the most part, don't the Katoi, as they're known over there, the Katoi don't really hide it, because there are a lot of guys who go to Thailand looking for that. Obviously, it does happen. You know, there was that in the Philippines. There was a case of that Marine who beat the trans hooker to death after he had sex. I don't know what the fuck happened there. I think he was worried that someone was going to find out, or he felt guilty after he blew his load. But the Lady Boy, at least from what I remember in Thailand, they kind of had their own area. Like, I really think you have to seek it out over there. I don't think you're getting tricked. Because the bars that are just the clubs that are just chicks, it's just chicks. Like, that's their business. Like, they don't want one of them working there. It's going to fuck everything up. Those guys go to different places. And that's what you're there. If that's what they're there for, again, by all means, when in Pattaya, do what the creepy German guy does. Yeah, so that was, and New York City has, for a very brief period, people in the New York area were pleasant to each other. And now it's descended into no, Mr. Conqueror, very, very funny. No, I did not. There is the show at the Angel Witch, of course, which I've talked about here, which does feature a lady boy used in hilarious fashion. What they do is they take a guy from the audience up on stage, and they begin a performance where two women are doing a lesbian act right in front of him. And they put him on a chair. And then during this lesbian act, they come over and they start fooling around on him. And one of them is wearing a necktie. And they take the necktie off and they blindfold him with it. and yes, we're getting past it, Mike. Don't worry. They blindfold him with the necktie, and then they get off, and they are quickly replaced very quickly. Like, they do a quick exchange, and they are quickly replaced by a ladyboy who, gives him like a very long and sensual lap dance, and then they take the blindfold off, and the ladyboy's dong is just sitting in the guy's face, and it's everyone, because people go to the Angel Witch more. It's a fucking, they put on a hell of a show. You get a good lesbian strap-on show and whatnot. So the goof is to go there with someone who hasn't gone, and get them sent up on the stage. When the first time I went, one of the guys in my group was also a first time. He went up, and he wound up getting the hog in his face. So yeah. But back to New York. I'll wrap up tonight with, I always do like to plunge into just fun articles. New Yorkers are sick of these. I guess New York City is just awash with yes, thank you, Ura85. Thank you for explaining it. He's not all there. That's it. What are you gonna do? It's what you're here for. And congratulations, Alexander, on banging a French Canadian, eh? That's gonna be fun. There are apparently influencers infuriating New Yorkers. There is this tension in New York City between the transplants and the real New Yorkers, which many of the real, quote unquote, real New Yorkers are just people who moved to New York City in 2002 or so. Like, they're really not, like, there are very few real New Yorkers. Like, New York is a city of, there are, but it's a city of immigrants and transplants and shit like that. Like, real New Yorker is such a fucking bogus fucking term. And it's a real New Yorker is the biggest douchebag, but there are more, I would say instead of real New Yorkers and fake New Yorkers, there are different breeds of New Yorkers. And you do have to be in the city, I would say, for a certain amount of time before you can call yourself a New Yorker. I'm fine with that. Like, if you're from Ohio and you've been in the city for 2 years, you're not really a New Yorker. Like, you should have to put in a decade. But other than that, the whole real New Yorker thing, it's more, there are different varieties of New Yorker, and many of them are special breeds of douchebag. And there has now been going on a war between people who fancy themselves real New Yorkers and these influencers, it highlights a sect of people who are, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with them. It's not like it's like urban. The closest thing I could call it is like urban trad wifing, but it's not. A lot of them work. Like, a lot of them have that like girl boss lean in thing, but like using trad wife as more of the like a catch-all for trying to create like an aesthetic. I don't even know how to fucking describe it. It's just these generic white women who live in apartments in New York City, and they have generic office jobs, and they drink matcha tea, and they go to spin classes, and there's just nothing particularly interesting about them, but they will all become obsessed with the same, like either the same restaurant or the same fucking pastry or the same park or whatever, and they will all do their content there, and it will just swarm New York City social media. So if you like, I'm a big food guy. Like, I love obviously Italian food, but like, steakhouse and just food in general. Um, outside, I'm not talking about like fucking fast food. I'm talking, food. Like, I like nice restaurants and shit. So I catch like slivers of it. But what will happen is, and this started popping back again in the 2010s. The Cronut, I think, was the first thing that did this. People will just start mobbing small, like obscure small businesses for like weird little items, like a cookie or something. Like, shit doesn't even have to be that good if it photographs well and it looks cool on social media and it fits this sort of, again, this sort of very otherwise sort of bland working white girl aesthetic. Like, really, what it feels like it almost appeals to is chicks who grew up watching rom-coms and Friends and whatnot, and seeing this New York City, watching Sex in the City, where everything was, going out for like a fucking these crafted cocktails and brunches and happy hours and appetizers and restaurants and this and that, and this sort of concocted false reality about what was 1990s New York that these chicks all saw on TV when they were in elementary school. And then growing into women in their 20s and 30s who now could go and have the white girl office job in New York and have the apartment and just go on this series of bad dates with fucking finance bros who are just trying to get their dick sucked, but the girl thinks that eventually she's going to meet some guy who he works in high finance, but he's not like the rest of them. He doesn't have a fucking coke problem and drink fucking 5 whiskeys a night to unwind after work. Like, no, he's really Prince Charming, and he's going to show up at your fucking publishing job with 500 roses and make a grand romantic gesture or some fucking shit. Like, that is what they thought was going to happen, and they've now been given the power through things like TikTok and Instagram to document and create this pseudo existence, and then other women see it and they want to do it, but obviously only a certain amount of them even live in New York City. So what you get is all of these very dull white women visiting the city, and they drag their significant others to go get, we have to get a croissant from this cafe because some chick who is probably a fucking nightmare around the house to her fucking husband and kids, she did a TikTok about it. So we have to go, and some fucking guy is standing there, standing in line somewhere in the West Village in his Cincinnati Reds cap, and he just wants to go to a sports bar and catch the fucking, catch the Reds game because they're in the wild card hunt. But his fucking his fucking wife is making him stand there. They have to go get a fucking a coffee and a croissant so she can TikTok it. And the place doesn't even have a fucking bathroom or anything substantial to eat. Yeah, so that's going on there. That's, I guess in the end, right, it's better That's a bit. If you're gonna make your personality a shitty internet personality type, like one of those people who's heavily influenced, like I can't mention who, but like I do know someone who is deeply and aggressively influenced by social media videos. And I'm just confounded by it. And it's non-political. I know a bunch of the political ones too. But this is non-political. They literally craft their lifestyle around it. I recently saw another white woman I know has started her own influencer page, so she will be white woman influencing as well. Um, so yeah, that is where we're at. You're either cheering a public execution, or you're dragging your significant other to eat subpar photogenic pastries to make your fucking boring friends, the ladies in the teachers' lounge. Because let's be honest about who this shit really fucking appeals to, is fucking is chicks from sleepy suburbs chicks who became teachers in sleepy suburbs who are very bored and they've gotten tired of banging the fucking teenage students behind their husbands' backs. So now they're obsessing over a cookie that they saw on TikTok, or fucking Dubai chocolate or some other bullshit. Oh, it's green chocolate. Ooh. They're gonna make their husband fucking plunk down his hard-earned money that he would rather spend on fucking Brown season tickets. He's gonna have to spend on a fucking trip to New York City so his wife can make him stand in line to get some biscotti so that she can put a picture up on the internet, and the other hens in the teacher's lounge won't be happy. Oh well. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at a lot of this. Fucking. I don't know. I do know someone with an advice show who could probably tell you. So call in. Fuck yeah. Ask Daddy. I'm sure he could. He could direct you. And then this one I love. Yes, they always caption them with lyrics from The Weeknd, Drake, Taylor Swift, or Morgan Wallen. I feel like is one of the other big ones. But yeah, well, Taylor Swift, and we've beaten this to death. But as I said, appeals to unremarkable white women, right? It should, because she is a dullard's version of excitement. If you're over 30 and you're really into Taylor Swift, that's a dullard's version of excitement. If you're in your teens and 20s, I get how fucking cheesy pop lyrics about relationships appeal to you. That fucking checks out. Like I know a couple chicks that I've trained with are in their 20s. They like Taylor Swift. I get it. Fucking target demo. For me, the real frustration is the 30-somethings. Yes, Alexander, she's got no ass. That we will repeat over and over. And she fucking, what, the life of a showgirl. Get the fuck out of here. There is a non-zero chance, of course, that the Kelsey Swift nuptials end in disaster. Like, she has a long history of fucking highly public breakups, and celebrity marriages often go down in flames. And he had a type before she came around, and she was not the type. And the the type that that he was into seems like a lot more fun, if we're being honest. And frankly, all of the NFL celebrity relationships seem like a lot more fun. Like Haley Steinfeld, what's the deal? What's the deal with Buffalo Wings? Haley Steinfeld, Olivia Culpo, like they all seem so much better than fucking, Taylor Swift is not a get. She's not a get. And then the Drake, I'm not a Drake guy. I never was. Like, that's not, how Drake, he's not cool. It's not, he was the wheelchair guy in Degrassi. The shitty Degrassi too. Not the OG. Degrassi Junior High, all right? I fuck with Degrassi Junior High hard. I don't need the new Degrassi. Give me old school 1980s Joey Jeremiah Degrassi Junior High. Canada's greatest export. And then The Weeknd. I mean, if they're going to use The Weeknd, I don't mind. I enjoy The Weeknd. How could you hate Degrassi, eh? Nighttime Conqueror. How could you hate Degrassi? It was good. A 7. I don't know. See, the thing is, she has access to the best professional makeup and stylists and all of that shit. So, like, yeah, she's not a slob. Like, you're not like she's hideous. It's just she's just kind of nothing. Like, she's sort of a blank slate baby. And you can just kind of draw anything on her, and they're like, at best, we're going to give you a glammed up basic white girl. Like, that's it. Like, you go on Pornhub, go walk down the street in any urban area. You're going to see more go to the mall. You're going to see a lot more fucking attractive women. Walk into a fucking a hair salon. You just look around at your average fucking female hairstylist is sexier and probably a lot more fun than Taylor Swift. Anyway, it's steak time, boys. I'm getting ready to punch out. Like I said, either pre-record or off next week. And then I'm not sure after that. And please do comment with your thoughts on the brand new time. I'm toying, again, couple months out. And I'll let you know when I'm eyeballing. But yeah, I would like to make that switch sooner than later, so I can stop having to fucking bail on the show and do pre-records every week. So Twitter at Mike Montone, Instagram at Gary_Moyler, Moyler, at Mike's Golden Streams on YouTube, Sacktap Live. Thank you for the lively discussion in the comments section tonight, and I will catch you later. Adios, motherfuckers.